in a rural part of Montana. Wide open fields, mountains in the distance, and long gravel roads that don't see many cars. I've been here, for years on, a small piece of inherited land that used to belong to my grandfather. The farmhouse isn't much to look at, and the barn behind it is even worse. The wood's faded grey, the roof sagging in places, and there's a hayloft up top that nobody's used since I was a kid. I usually go to bed early, but this one night, something felt off. The air outside was dead quiet, no unusual, but this time it had a weight to it. I let my dog, Miller, out for a quick run before bed. He's a black lab, getting older now, but still sharp. I stood on the back porch watching him trot off into the field when something caught my eye. There was a light, dim, flickering, coming from the hayloft window of the barn. I don't leave lights on out there. There's no power running to the barn anymore. I squinted to be sure I wasn't imagining it. The light danced like candle flame, soft and golden. I felt something cold crawl down my spine. I called Miller back and grabbed my old flashlight from the kitchen. The beam was weak, but it gave me enough to see. I walked across the yard, the gravel crunching under my boots. The barn loomed ahead, the light still flickering up top. No movement, no sound. Just the soft creak of the breeze nudging the warped boards. I slid the barn door open. It let out a low groan like it hadn't been moved in years. Inside, it was pitch black. Dust hung in the air, catching in my flashlight beam like snow. I stepped inside, heart thudding harder than I wanted to admit. There was no sign of anyone. The ladder leading up to the loft was still there, rotting but intact. I stood at the base of it, staring upward. The light from above made long shadows on the wall. Then it vanished. Gone. Just like that, I stood, frozen. The air felt different, heavier. I heard a soft thump above me. Not loud, but definite. Like a boot heel shifting on wood. I backed away slowly, unsure of what to do. I wasn't armed, and I wasn't exactly eager to climb up into a loft where someone or something was waiting. But this was my property. If someone was up there, I had a right to know. I ran back inside the house and grabbed the old shotgun from above the fireplace. Loaded it. Miller was whining by the door. He didn't want me going back out there. But I did. I returned to the barn, slower this time. I stepped inside, leveled the flashlight, and climbed the ladder one shaky run at a time. The loft was empty. No light, no people. Just old hay, some broken crates, and the smell of age and rot. I swept the flashlight across the space. Nothing. Then I noticed something carved into the far wall. At first, I thought it was just scratches from animals, but as I got closer, I realized they were letters. Leave him alone. The words were etched deep, over and over, like someone had spent hours, maybe days, carving them. The hair on my neck stood up. I backed down the ladder and locked the barn doors behind me. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I went out to inspect the carvings again, but when I climbed back up, the writing was gone. Not faded. Gone. The wall looked untouched. I don't know who or what I saw that night, but I haven't gone back inside that barn since. Sometimes, around 2 or 3 a.m., I see that light again. Just for a few seconds, flickering in the loft. Miller doesn't like to go near the barn anymore. And honestly, neither do I. I used to work for a furniture rental company, that delivered for real estate showings. That meant late nights, long drives, and a lot of quiet hours in unfamiliar neighborhoods. The jobs weren't bad. Most of the time it was just me and my van. You'd be surprised how many agents insist on having a full dining room set up at midnight. One night in particular has stayed with me, and not in a good way. It started with an after-hours drop-off in a suburban area I wasn't familiar with MC Cree Hill. Kind of one of those places that tries too hard to feel luxurious. Winding roads, fake lakes, all that stuff. I'd been to that neighborhood once before, but never this late. I was dropping off 2 end tables and a mirror. The client left a code for the lockbox. I parked near the cul-de-sac at the bottom of a hill and made my way up the driveway. The street was dead silent. Not a single car passed by. As I was unloading the mirror, I noticed a car parked 2 houses down from where I was. It wasn't in a driveway, it was just sort of idle on the curb. No lights, no movement. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe another agent doing late staging too. But when I came back down to grab the side tables, it was still there. And the headlights were now on. I froze for a second. Something about it felt wrong. Not threatening necessarily. Just off. Like it didn't belong there. I kept my head down and walked the rest of the furniture up. As I was locking the door behind me, I looked up and saw that the car was now gone. But when I turned around to head back to my van, it was parked directly behind it. I didn't even hear it pull up. It was the same car. All black. No plates. Windows tinted too dark to see through. I stood frozen on the sidewalk. After what felt like a full minute, the front driver's side door opened, and a man stepped out. He didn't say anything. Didn't wave. Just stood there, half in the streetlight, half in shadow. I couldn't make out his face. I instinctively reached for my phone. He took a step forward. I called out, "Hey, something I can help you with?" No response. He took another step. I didn't wait. I backed away, heart pounding, and sprinted around the side of the house. I crouched in the bushes, dialing 911. My hands were shaking so bad, I nearly dropped the phone. I heard footsteps crunching gravel. They stopped. Then, nothing. Just silence. Until I heard the van's driver door open. That's when I lost it. I ran full speed around the back of the house, climbed the fence, and cut across 2 neighboring yards until I reached the street on the other side. I flagged down a jogger and asked them to call the cops. By the time we circled back, the van was still there, but the black car was gone. Nothing had been taken. No damage. The guy didn't touch anything. He just wanted to scare me. Well, maybe something worse if I hadn't run. I didn't take late-night jobs after that. Even now, years later, I never go anywhere unfamiliar at night unless someone's with me. I used to live in a town called Fernview, upstate. Not much to say about it. Small, quiet, surrounded by forest. One of those towns where every house looks like it was built in the '70s and no one updates their mailbox. When I was a teenager, my group of friends had a tradition of sneaking into old buildings. Not to vandalize or anything, we just liked the thrill. Fernview had a few abandoned spots, but the most infamous was 198 Hollow Street. It was a 2-story house, supposedly condemned in the '90s after a fire. No one knew who owned it. Rumor had it someone still paid the taxes, but never showed up. The house was tucked away on a hill behind overgrown trees. You couldn't see it from the road. No driveway. No path. Just a rusted mailbox and a trail of dead leaves. We waited until October to check it out. Halloween energy made it seem like the right time. It was me, Marcus, Jay, and Bry. We brought flashlights and a backpack with water and snacks. We weren't idiots, just bored kids. The place looked like a skeleton of a house. Windows shattered, siding stripped, front door barely hanging. The first floor was wide open. We stepped inside and were hit with that heavy smell of damp rot and old insulation. But it was quiet, almost too quiet. The floorboards creaked beneath us as we explored. The living room still had an old recliner. Kitchen was empty, except for broken drawers. There were scorch marks on the wall, leftovers from the fire. Upstairs was our goal. The staircase looked sketchy, but we went up, one at a time. That's when things started getting weird. Bry pointed out how cold it suddenly was, and Jay noticed the walls upstairs had no soot. None. Like they had been freshly painted, which made no sense. We reached what looked like a bedroom. Door was missing. Inside was a mattress on the floor, newer than anything else in the house. A backpack leaned against the wall. Someone was living there. That's when we heard a thump. Not from upstairs, from the basement. We froze. None of us had gone near the basement door. I whispered, "Let's go." But Jay was already heading to the staircase. Bry and I followed. We tried to leave quietly. Halfway down, we heard the basement door creak open behind us. Then footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming up the stairs. We didn't wait to see who or what it was. We flew down the front steps, through the woods, and didn't stop until we hit the road. We called the sheriff. He came out with 2 other deputies. They searched the place, but said they found nothing. No mattress. No bag. No signs of anyone. But the weirdest part? They said the basement door had been boarded shut from the inside. We never went back. We still talk about it sometimes, wondering if what we heard was real, or if the house just wanted to be left alone.